J-Station back with another challenge. Today we're gonna find out how a TikToker will look without all the fancy filters supporting him and his weird face normally. The answer might just shock you. It's Kaito Momota here. What's up? I'm Kiki and today we're gonna actually get into a commentary video. If you thought my content was restricted to 15-second to 1-minute videos, then you were absolutely correct because this will be a mess. As most of you know, I'm a cosplayer. I mostly cosplay from the visual mystery I mostly cosplay from the murder mystery visual novel game Danganronpa. I've been partaking in the cosplay community for about 7 years now. So a thing that recently keeps coming up in like discussions, comment sections, on TikTok, but also on YouTube, Instagram, is people using the word canon to describe a cosplay. Today I want to discuss the concept of canon cosplay, what it is, what it isn't, and why it's not actually bad to not be a canon cosplayer. I'm gonna make sure to give disclaimers throughout because I feel like, is my light flickering? Like a lot of people could take offense to the way that I say things or to the way that I word things. I just want you all to know that I think everybody should be able to cosplay. Cosplay is for everybody, and as I said, I will be sprinkling some disclaimers in between. So if you want to know what canon means, I think we first have to discuss if there's any place for this word within the definition and the general understanding of cosplay. So Webster's Dictionary defines cosplay as the
activity or practice of dressing up as a character from a work of fiction, such as a comic book, video game, or television show.
And Jamal Jordan adds,
in cosplay, a good costume is as much about creativity with materials and construction as it is about the outcome. So while some people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on custom outfits for cons, many more invest in time using cheap materials and household items to transform themselves into characters of superhuman, mythical proportions.
Thank you, Jamal Jordan. Webster's Dictionary basically says is that cosplay is the practice of dressing up as a fictional character, and there's basically no kind of comment about like you should look like this character, you have to be this kind of thing. So it's a very loose definition that actually I would say is pretty accurate as a cosplayer. Of course, definitions change, and I will not get into the origins of cosplay because I will assume that most people watching this video already know what cosplay is. Now that we know that basically the Webster's Dictionary definition and the general like consensus of cosplay don't restrict any sort of creativity, let's dive into the word canon. So when I googled canon, I gotta say I actually didn't know the word outside of the context of fandoms because I grew up on Tumblr. The first definition that like Google came up with immediately was it's a noun. Apparently.
It's a general law, rule, principle, or criterion by which something is judged.
Webster's Dictionary actually tells me that the first or like the most used definition of the word canon is in the context of a regulation or dogma decreed by a church council. So that's interesting. In the context of fandoms, it's usually used to describe something being established by the creator. If the author, by the way, says this character has black hair, then this character canonically has black hair. Because usually the creators, producers, or authors of materials such as books, movies, games, franchises are seen as the ultimate authority on the content of these media pieces. Let's get into the material. Canon and cosplay. I guess most of us can logically deduct that if something is a canon cosplay, it's as close to the source material as possible. Well, let me just tell you, as somebody who has participated in the cosplay community for about 7 years now, there's been so much discourse about the concept of canon cosplaying. It used to be kind of like the principle of cosplay to be as close to the original character visually as possible. So that means a lot of people would take great offense to the concept of not being canon. If somebody told them or criticized their cosplay on the basis of not being canon, then they would like basically lose their fucking shit. TikTok. Absolutely meme to death, the absolute source of cringe-topia, cringe compilation material. There is a huge cosplay community on TikTok. It might actually be probably the biggest cosplay platform currently available in the US and Europe. TikTok has brought so many new things to the cosplay community. It's actually kind of a blessing. So with TikTok and the accessibility of cosplay and cosplay products, cosplay merchandise, basically being more available to people joining fandoms, and also people being influenced by the TikTok algorithm, seeing like franchises like Danganronpa, My Hero Academia, these things, the cosplay community has grown like significantly. And with that, the consensus and the principles of the concept of canon and the, well, requirement to be canon has also kind of changed. Certain aspects of TikTok cosplay have been absolutely memed to death, like the TikTok belt. TikTok has its own subculture of cosplay that is entirely set apart from mainstream or commercial cosplay as we know it. So why was all of that important? Because with the change in the cosplay culture and the accessibility of, in general, the cosplay community being better, people are getting more creative with their cosplays. Of course, there was always variety. It wasn't like everybody had the cosplay and there was no variety whatsoever. People did not accessorize. But there were a few categories that most people stuck to when they were using alternative outfits. Of course, alternative designs, AU versions, that's always been a thing, but the general kind of concept of accessorizing as a part of the cosplay, not just as like an alternative design, is kind of new and was actually not invented by the TikTok kids, but kind of popularized by them. It kind of began with like taking pieces of old fashion or things like fashion styles like Decora and putting them on your cosplay just to make it more interesting. And there's one fandom and one cosplay category on TikTok that is absolutely known for this, and that's the Danganronpa fandom. Danganronpa cosplayers will accessorize the shit out of their costumes. They will tease those wigs up to Jesus, they will eyeline across their entire hairline. It does not matter, and it's absolutely brilliant. I will not basically speak of myself as part of that group because I regard myself as a mostly canon cosplayer, because it's just the style that I prefer for myself and on myself. I look at these cosplays and I think this is great. It's just not for me, but I love looking at it. The most kind of well-known accessories that most people use is, again, the TikTok belt. Then we have kandi, which is like a sort of style of bracelets that's been popularized in Japan by like Decora fashion. In general, just hair accessories and kind of old-fashioned e-girl, e-boy, e-person style accessories, chokers, creative chokers, punk chokers, the earrings, things like that. I want to give you some examples of kind of different kind of styles that people use, different techniques, or like how people stray from the canon, using a character that is very interpretable. We use TikTok videos all made for the same sound, which is the sound from the Danganronpa 3 anime featuring the character Junko Enoshima. And she's a widely cosplayed character that a lot of us, like, even if you aren't into Danganronpa, you've probably seen a cosplay of her. And I will also feature my own video, and I will also feature a picture of her, just so you know what she actually looks like in case you just don't have it in mind. And please keep in mind, when I describe the way a cosplayer interpreted her outfit or her wig, when I say it's not canon, that's not actually like a judgment of how well it is done, because canon does not equal good and not canon does not equal bad. It's all about the interpretation and the way you want to portray the character. And of course it's impressive if the character just like, if you look just like the character, but that's not the point of cosplaying. Cosplay is not a competition. I'm just here to use these wonderful cosplays. I love all of them. I should say that before. I find all of them to be so good. I use them as examples to explain certain kind of styles and ways of accessorizing. So I basically want to start out with just showing you the original scene, because even though using like character sounds on TikTok is not necessarily about like being true to the scene, I think it is important. And in case you haven't seen the character before, here's a game sprite of her, pretty iconic character design. So yeah, here's the scene.
Kamakura, yes, queen! I'm such a big fan. Not to sound all stalkery, but can I get a hug?
So first up on the cosplay list, we've got Bubble_cos.
Kamakura, yes, queen! I'm such a big fan. Not to sound all stalkery, but can I get a hug?
So her interpretation of Junko features the typical kandi bracelets, a more intricate choker than Junko is wearing in canon. She also used a wig styling technique that gives the wig like a puffy, teased, backcombed look that creates like a real lot of volume. And she also, additionally to the Monokuma hair clips, she also added like a little tiara. So even though the cosplay isn't exactly canon, it's still absolutely fantastic. Next up, we've got Jesnakel_cos. I hope I pronounced that right.
Kamakura, yes, queen! I'm such a big fan. Not to sound all stalkery, but can I get a hug?
Her Junko cosplay features a wig styling technique that I also used on my own wig, where you mess up the wig fibers and then set them into place with got2b and a hairdryer. I would use her cosplay as a definition of canon, except for the hoop earrings, which in my opinion fit the character perfectly, because she didn't add anything else to the cosplay, got the original costume going on. The wig is very styled to resemble Junko's original hair structure. It's very, very cool, it looks gorgeous. Next up, we've got cringy cosplays.
Kamakura, Kamakura, yes, queen! I'm such a big fan! Not to sound all stalkery, but can I get a hug?
So, if you know cringy cosplays, aka Axel, he is great. He is one of those cosplayers that I admire for their style, because he has a very unique makeup style that I won't get into though, because that's something for the next video. He accessorizes his Junko with kind of like these emo-y 2007 kind of wrist warmers. I don't know, what are they called? Like gloves? Like half gloves? Not really gloves, you know what I mean? In pink, which is part of the original palette of Junko. And he poofed up his wig absolutely up to Jesus, up to all hell. I love this so much. This is great. Kind of simulating the original, the absolute size of Junko's hair. And his cosplay also features the TikTok belt and the punky spiky choker. So his cosplay would be kind of like an example of a creative rendition, where you keep the original form of Junko wearing a choker, for example, but add your own twist to it. As Bubble Cos also did it, like take a piece and make it your own. So it's not actually canon, but it's still great. Next up, we've got Miru. Miru Cos. Y'all know him, he's great. Just follow him already.
Kamakura, Kamakura, yes, queen! I'm such a big fan! Not to sound all stalkery, but can I get a hug?
He decided to cosplay a male version of Junko, giving his version of Junko short hair and using a piece of clothing that the original Junko is seen wearing, which is that god-awful leopard skin coat that she's wearing in the Danganronpa 3 anime. He gave his male Junko round glasses, short hair, like a button-up shirt that he unbuttoned down his chest. It's the classic like gender bent version that you could find for forever. It's been a thing for forever. People have always gender bended the characters they like, especially back when it was less acceptable for like people who identify as cis women to cosplay men and vice versa. So this would be an example of a cosplay that is absolutely not canon, but taking pieces of canon to use in a transformative kind of work, in an alternate design, in like a kind of AU version. It's amazing.
Kamakura, Kamakura, yes, queen! I'm such a big fan! Not to sound all stalkery, but can I get a hug?
And then we've got my own Voka cosplay. I also didn't go for a complete canon because I am not in the position of tits. So I decided, because it made me uncomfortable to have the shape kind of just like hanging down in the front. I used a turtleneck that I kind of pushed up on the sleeves. I'm also wearing a TikTok belt and fishnets, and I'm not sure if you can even see them here. So, what have we learned from that? There is so much beauty in cosplay, and there's absolutely no reason why we should put each other down, why people should put down TikTok cosplayers or see them as something less, because I feel like even though there's a lot of bad things have come for the cosplay community from TikTok, and I will get into that in another video, in general, it's been kind of chill. What are your opinions? Like, tell me below, do you think it's important to be canon in cosplay, or do you think that it's totally valid to stray from the norm, to stick out, or to just, in general, be a little bit more creative with the freedoms you take in the design of a cosplay or costume? Tell me below, and share this video and spray got2b onto the little bell icon after you subscribed. I don't know, crimp the subscribe button. I just realized I never explained why I'm wearing a Kaito Momota cosplay jacket, but honestly, I'll keep my secrets. Bye!